Okay, my friends, Adrian Newey is confirmed at Aston Martin, the worst kept secret in Formula One history, bar Kimi Antonelli. So, yeah, I mean, I just... what do we think about Adrian Newey to Aston Martin?
It's interesting. I mean, Aston Martin fans, don't get ahead of yourselves. It's not going to work his magic straight away, but it's going to be interesting few years and see what comes from it, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting few years, especially I think the new regulations coming up is always going to be good. We know Newey makes a massive impact wherever he goes, whether it was Williams, McLaren, Red Bull, now Aston Martin. He's made an impact at every turn he's made in his career. Obviously, there's been patches where it hasn't worked out. We think about the turbo hybrid era wasn't generally successful for Newey and Red Bull, apart from the last year where they did finally catch up to Mercedes. So it is touch and go. There is a chance it doesn't work, but this gives Aston Martin the tools to, if Fernando stays around, to make him a 3-time champion. Could you imagine?
Look, I mean, trying to imagine it is a weird thing, but I do think the Adrian Newey arrival is a bit too late for Fernando Alonso. He's not gonna. Do I think Adrian Newey is gonna propel Aston Martin to being the best team in 2026? No. Do I think Aston Martin will compete for the odd podium here and there with Adrian Newey? Potentially, but it's too little too late for Fernando Alonso, I think.
For the point where they would be fighting for the championship, I think he's long gone.
Yeah. I think if they wanted the championship, Newey needed to come in way back 2022, maybe 2023 at a push to get that car to the point in 2026 ready to go for a championship. Which, do you think a year is enough time? I don't think for a championship. They're too far behind.
Yeah, they are. It's regulation shifts can put anyone at the front.
Yeah.
So there is a possibility, but we also have to remember that I imagine Red Bull and Newey have already probably worked on countless concepts for the 26 car anyway. So Red Bull have already got a sort of, one hand on the front of the grid already with with the experience that Newey brought before. And likewise, Aston Martin with their technical team will already have sort of a concept mapped out for what they want to do with the car. So how much is Newey going to influence that? And how much will it change? And will that set them back? We don't know. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Newey might not be able to bring everything that he wants because they might have a baseline already and he just adds to it. Who knows? But in terms of if you're a Fernando fan, don't get your hopes up for a 3-time world champion.
No, and the burning question here is that everyone's going to have is why is Newey gone to Aston Martin and not Ferrari? Because Ferrari were the only other challengers looking at signing Newey.
Yeah.
What do you think the main reason is for Newey not going to Ferrari?
Still in the UK.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, it's been his home. It's where his life is. Maybe he doesn't want to up and move to Maranello.
Nope.
Maybe it's the money. I mean, he is being told he's a part-time shareholder as well in Aston Martin now with this contract.
Well, I mean, with the amount that Lawrence Stroll is paying him, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so maybe the whole package deal from Aston Martin was the better deal for Newey. There's a whole host of reasons it could be, but if that's the one that he saw that was best for him, fair play.
Yeah, and also I did watch I haven't watched all of it because obviously we've had to record this pretty on the nose. But as soon as the news broke, a few podcasts came up with exclusives with Adrian Newey talking about it. and I watched just the first few minutes of one of them with an interview with him, which had obviously been pre-recorded, talking about it, which is crazy. And Newey mentioned that one of his philosophies is that he doesn't join a successful team.
No.
In his career, he wants to, and he said this himself. He said he wants to go to a team that isn't maybe quite having the success that it wants, or is up and coming, and wants to sort of push it to the front. And it makes total sense why he didn't go to Ferrari for that reason. Obviously, the richest team in F1 history, and I'd say right now they're relatively successful. And with Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, Fred Vasseur, and the direction that they're going, they're fighting at the front. So I can see 100%. Yeah, exactly. I can 100% see why Newey chose Aston Martin. And yeah, it's gonna be wild.
He likes a challenge, doesn't he, Mr. Newey?
He does. In fact, I'm glad he's gone to Aston Martin and not Ferrari, because as much as him going to Ferrari would probably mean Ferrari would dominate, Lewis Hamilton, maybe an 8th championship, maybe a Charles Leclerc champion, I think it adds a bit more spice to him going to Aston Martin.
It adds a dimension where you kind of have to look over your shoulder at Aston Martin and see what they're doing now.
Yeah, you can't count them out.
No, there is one of them that you've got to just keep an eye on and see what happens with them.
Exactly, yeah. You can't count them out at this point.
But yeah, have you seen his contract as well?
What? Go on, give us the contract rundown.
Well, I don't know the full rundown, but the wage that he's on, I think a year, the only two people that are ahead of him in terms of drivers is Hamilton and Max. So he's ahead of the amount that Charles is getting, Lando's getting, Piastri, Ricciardo, whoever.
Well, he is the GOAT technical director in F1. He is GOAT engineer. He's the greatest engineer of all time.
I don't know where Aston Martin are getting this bloody money from in this cost cap.
It's called Lawrence Stroll's pocket.
Yeah. Jesus
yeah. I don't even know. But anyway, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with Aston Martin. It's going to be interesting. We'll obviously do more videos on Newey and Aston Martin in the future, potentially, probably coming at the end of the season when, a bit more news comes out about it, when he's officially joined the team, what potentially the car's looking like. So stay tuned for all of that, and we'll see you on Thursday for the preview for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.